Welcome to another week of AD and the MC. My name is Shira Taft. I'm the MC. This is AD, AngryDad Mark Orville. And this week, we're joined by one of the biggest and best in the business, Fev. Brendan Fevola, great to have you with us, mate.
G'day, guys. How are we?
211 games of football between the two of you.
Oh, you stole my punchline, mate. 630 goals between us as well.
Yeah, you had a prodigious career, you two.
7 games, 7 goals, 9 operations in my stats.
That's all right.
It's the what could have been and the what is.
Yeah.
The old what could have been.
And didn't we love him as a player?
Oh, mate.
Oh, I know.
I think I loved him too.
Well, now we're here for a bit of a warts and all here, Fev. I mean, of all people in
I'll just take my shoes off.
Media,
Let's get comfy.
You relax. You've seen the both sides of it: the ups, the downs, the ups again, a couple of downs, and another up.
Sounds like a weekend out.
Sounds like my weight.
It's always up.
How do you feel? Would you look back? How do you reckon people are going to look back on your life?
Football-wise, a lot of people say that I was a wasted talent.
Yeah.
But I did play over 200 games, so kicking.
You're in the top 30 goal kickers of all time.
So imagine if I used that talent, I'd be easily the best. But I retired at 29/sacked. So I probably could have kicked 1,000.
Yeah.
I wasn't far off.
It's remarkable, actually, when you think about it, isn't it? And you look statistically at all the numbers. It's not a bad effort, really.
Not a bad effort.
What 7 years in a row leading goal kicker?
Well, it wasn't hard. There wasn't many other people that were kicking many goals at the Blues, but
you were the Patrick Cripps of your time at the Blues, really, weren't you? One-man band.
I was better than him. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I was actually putting bums on seats. We'll get beat every week. You know how it is. And there's still 80,000 going to watch the Fev on a Saturday.
It's a great story.
And when I wasn't playing, they didn't come.
Yeah. Oh, well, 100%. We see that.
I want to hit you in the arm.
No.
With a good gag, but I can't. But my life, it's been up. Obviously, as a young kid getting drafted, I was still in high school when I got drafted. I was in year 11. So my first year of AFL footy, I was playing and also doing year 12, which was hard but easy for me because me being a smooth talker, I gave picked all the classes that my teachers were Carlton supporters.
There you go.
Gave them memberships, got their kids jumpers, gave them tickets to the ground. Some of the kids ran out. My biology teacher, don't even know what biology means, but I got an A+, so I cruised through school. Mum thought I was a genius. David Parkin thought I was a genius. Had them all bluffed. And then obviously starting, we made the grand final in our first year. Against North, we famously beat the Bombers by a point in the 99 prelim, and played the Kangas the next week, and then we made a prelim again the year after against the Bombers, who went on to win that grand final.
So you're down in the rooms, you're taking that all in?
I was playing, so I was just a young kid thinking this is going to happen forever.
Every year, yeah.
We're going to play finals, and we're a great side because they've won the most premierships, they've won 16, and then breached the salary cap, and the club got fined a lot, and then we got a lot of players probably to your calibre that we got from other clubs that come over and
the rest
play.
history, I think. The rest
and we finished on the bottom, and then obviously spiralled out of control a little bit up in Brisbane. Or the Brownlow night, that was fun. I can't remember too much.
Yeah, well, I mean, unfortunately, it'll go down in history as one of those sort of
great
moments.
Nights.
But, the thing that stands out for me, Shira, is just the ability for this bloke to recover, not just on the field, but off the field. And I reckon it's testament to just the Aussie way.
Yeah.
You kick them when they're down, but you give them a second chance. And that's what I love about the story. I mean, it's quite remarkable.
I was just lucky I took my 10th.
Yeah, but, like it is. I'm sure you sit back and reflect often in terms of, that whole journey, because it's been one that's been well reported in terms of, those various misdemeanours and the like, but shit, he's bounced back hard.
Well, we'll get to him coming back, but just touching back on you're an 18-year-old, you entered the footy world. Did you know then that, because you are just by nature a larrikin, that's just who you are, which is absolutely fine, and footy players should be themselves. We kind of expect these guys to be pariahs and perfect human beings. And you would have been in clubs, not just yourself, other blokes. You've got to be yourself at footy. When did you realise that it was going to maybe be a little problem? Was it the Brownlow nights?
I never did. Hence why I was out of control.
The club never spoke to you and said you've got to be careful?
No. I think I got away with a little bit because I was probably our best player.
Yeah.
So if they got me offside, then they probably wouldn't get the performance on the ground.
So you reckon you would have been turfed before if you weren't as good a player?
Oh, if I was shit, I'd be see you later.
I reckon.
But 100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Then probably gone to another
'Cause in
club
your
and
time
then
you had-
sorted myself out.
Lawrence Ang, when he had issues, and there's a few other blokes who like.
Oh, they had.
I'm not saying you're the same,
Well,
but
they
I'm
had.
saying-
They had illegal issues.
Yeah.
My issues were only hurting myself.
I understand different, but
okay.
certainly they will get rid of players if they're causing a problem, regardless.
Yeah, but I wasn't causing any problems to
No.
any other players or really the club. I was
Yeah, to
more,
yourself,
was
yeah.
more
Just a cheeky
myself.
bastard.
It was just more myself.
Yeah.
So they probably did turn a blind eye to a few things, but if they did give me the arse or something happened, I probably would have gone to another club because I'd signed at a few clubs when I was at Carlton, and then it didn't quite happen because Carlton wouldn't let me go.
Yeah.
So I could have done a redemption where you've gone to another club and then succeeded, but I did leave Carlton in the end to go to Brisbane. And people forget, in Brisbane, we were humming up there at Brisbane. We were 4 and zip on top of the ladder. Then we went to Sydney, played Sydney the SCG. Brownie and I both tore adductors, and then our season derailed. And then I derailed. And I often think now when I'm sitting at home or in the studio, I'm back with my wife, back with the kids. She's pregnant again. I'm on the #1 rating breakfast show in Australia, and 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I was laying in a mental clinic in New Farm, heavily medicated, thinking, shit, what's happened to my life? But now I look back and think, I've obviously gone through those obstacles, and I remember sitting on a bus, when you're on that blue bus, and you used to give people shit, the blue bus when you're at school. I was on that bus. So at New Farm, when I got it put in there by the footy club.
That was going to be my question. So the turning point was the footy club said to you, Fev, we want to help you, and this is what's happening?
Well, I got arrested for the first time ever on New Year's Eve 2010 for jaywalking at 2 a.m. with 10 other players. And the cops got me and put me in the back of the divvy van. So they've all blown up, and I've blown, mate. And then they ended up getting me for being drunk. New Year's Eve. Sorry about that.
That's why I've never been arrested. So I don't fit in the back of a divvy van.
You wouldn't get through the door.
They're going to walk me home, so I go, let him go.
And then
Handcuffs don't fit.
I got put in the divvy van, and then I went to the watch house, and there's a famous photo of me coming out, and I'm like gaunt because I got really fit. That was a pre-season. I had one of those Watt bikes, and I was training in Melbourne. Went back up for my second year at Brisbane, and they literally said to me, "This is no word." Alistair Lynch come out and got me at 7 a.m. And he put me into one of the little Hyundais, and there was a couple of people from the footy club there because Lynchy was my manager.
Yep.
And they said, "Mate, what do you want to do?" And I said, "Mate, I'm hungry. I want some Chinese." So he drove down to this little Chinatown place, and I had beef and black bean forced fried dim sims, sat there and ate it. And they said, "Okay, we're going to put you into a mental clinic."
So they'd already thought about that?
I think they'd already they were just waiting for me to...
So how was your reaction?
They say an institution.
It was a mental clinic, because that's what it was.
So how was your reaction?
I was like, "What for?"
Yeah.
They said, "We just need this to die down. Been there for a week, we'll put you away, blah, 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 and then just let this die down." Obviously, you didn't do much. You just got arrested for being jaywalking. So anyway, went in there. After 2 or 3 days, you sort of come out of all the drugs and go, "Oh, shit, where am I?" And I realised I was in a clinic, and I was in there for 68 days.
Wow.
So there was obviously a few underlying issues that I didn't know about, and drinking heavily because I'd been punting too much and lost money. And that's really only when I drunk. When I went out, I didn't really drink at home. Everyone goes, "Oh, Fev's this crazy drinker," but I wasn't.
So it's that binge drinking?
It was the binge drinking and just everything building up, because the thing with mental health, especially for men, is we find it hard to talk to other males about how we're feeling, because we think we're the big, strong man and you have a good job, you're earning a lot of money, you've got a beautiful wife, you've got kids, nothing could be possibly wrong, so you portray that.
Of course.
And obviously there was a lot that was going on deep inside, and then when I was in there, I saw a lot of sick people that had been in there, institutionalised, been there for 10 years, 15 years, and they were sick, and they'd had some horrific things happen to them, because obviously you get to know them, been in there for that long, and it was probably the best thing that happened to me. It was probably the best thing that come out of Brisbane, was going into there, and Vossi actually sacked me in rehab. So that wasn't a good couple of days after
Very
that.
considerate.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was a nice way. But I think it had to be done because the footy season had to move on, I suppose, and they had to sort that out. And I was in there and
Did that send you down, or did that when you were in that moment when he come?
I was pretty flat.
Did you think it was coming, or
no? Because I'd started doing some training with one of the
Right.
Brisbane guys, so I was allowed out and I was going and do some running because I went in there at 99 kilos and I was 127 because all the medication that they put you on.
Is that
hasn't
right?
played it yet?
Yeah.
Jeez, imagine when I go in.
They'll roll you out. So I was in there, and then anyway, that happened in there, and I think I was pretty flat afterwards, but I think it needed to happen. And then my wife ended up coming up, and because we'd broken up at the time, so she'd come up and pretty much got me out because I was like, "Why haven't you spoke to me?" Like, because you've rang me like 7 times today. Well, because you can't remember. You can't because you're in the medication. So actually dealing with your problems and speaking about it really helped me. And I probably wouldn't have got that if I didn't go into that facility and come back to Melbourne and end up playing down at Casey in the twos.
How quick, Fev, from that point where you actually left Brisbane to come back? Were you
Well, I
back
played that
playing
year. Yeah, I hated footy. I didn't want to play. And then Casey sort of threw me light, which is the Melbourne twos. And because I was living in Beaconsfield with some friends and they were like, come play for Casey. I was like, ugh, Casey. So I played my first game of footy at Port Melbourne, just around the corner, in the twos.
Kick third?
It was like,
So you must kick
it was
it
like,
in,
it was like
surely.
9:30 in the morning.
Wow.
The dew was still on the ground. There was reporters everywhere. And my last game I played was at the Gabba.
Yeah, big difference.
So I was twos. I think I kicked 4. I was fat as. And then by the halfway mark, halfway mark of the year, I'd lost all the weight, got really fit. And then I think I kicked 10 against Michael Jamison in his first game back for the Bull Ants. And I reckon I kicked about 50 in the last 7 games. And a couple of clubs said, we want to redraft you. And I was like, nah, I don't want to play footy anymore.
Do you reckon that was, looking back, that's a good decision that you made in terms of closing that door permanently on the whole AFL side of things and focusing more on you and your next chapter?
Oh, 100%. They wanted to take me with the last pick, and I said no. And then I got a phone call.
Who are you allowed to say?
No, I've never said who it was, but they're Melbourne-based.
I was going to say Melbourne.
Melbourne-based. No, Melbourne hated me because I was better than all their players, and I was in the twos. I got a phone call because I used to obviously bet all the time and owed like money to the bookies because you had freaking debts and stuff. But that was all fit. That was all done. It all got paid. This was like a year later, and I'm sitting on the couch, and I get a phone call. It was Matty Tripp, who owns Sportsbet, now owns CrownBet, BetEasy. I thought, shit. I'll let that go through to Gilly. I'm not going to answer that.
He's going to pay me for a quaddie I forgot about 4 years ago.
That would have been nice. And I'm like, I'll let that go through to Gilly. Because it was like 9:30 at night. I'm like, that's strange. And then he sent through a text. And he said, mate, we'd love you to come up to Yarrawonga and play footy. And I literally wrote back, where's Yarrawonga? Because I had no idea. And he'd been playing golf all day with Walbury, who was the president, and they just lost their 3rd granny in a row to Albury.
Yeah.
And then he sent through the deal. And I was, I'm in.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have a job. I was like, this is great. I flew up in the jet from Moorabbin, played the games, had beers, and then flew home. It was a great gig. And then 4 years, a year later, I ended up living up there for 3 years, coached them, and it pretty much turned my life around, being in rehab and going up to Yarrawonga, because Yarrawonga really changed my life.
Is it getting back to grassroots? Is that
100%.
Like you're away from the bright lights?
You're away from the bubble. The people in the country...
keep you honest, don't they?
They do. They don't care whether you've been there. Mate, you go to the pub, they've all got trackies and Uggies on. If you say, let's go to the pub on a Sunday for a beer and a punt and a Palmer, there'd be 40 blokes there. You do that in Melbourne, there'd be like 5 blokes that turn up, if we're lucky. There's such a community, and it's football netball. And we won the next 2 flags, which was great, made the grand final the 3rd year. And I've met some really great people up there. And the only reason I'm back with Alex is she rang me on a Mad Monday. I thought, oh mate, it was I couldn't believe it. I'm like, so how pissed am I? I'm looking at my phone, and it was like a Tuesday, so we'd had a bit of a crack. And she said, "Come home," and I thought, "Am I in Melbourne?" I didn't know what was going on. She goes, "No, I want you to come home."
Fantastic.
And I said, "What?" So I went home, snuck out of the Mad Monday, smoke bombed. Went home, slept it off, got my car, packed it, whatever I could fit in, drove back to Melbourne, and never got my stuff. Just left it.
That's amazing.
And then never went back.
So
I thought I wanted to change her mind. I was straight down the Hume, but she said that I would never have got back with you unless you moved to Yarrawonga.
Fantastic.
She said it actually changed you. Like, yeah.
You know, I remember watching it from afar, to be honest, and the thing that stood out for me was your commitment and loyalty to that opportunity clearly Matty Tripp provided for you. And I reckon it introduced a bit of a model for players that are finishing their AFL career to say, let's do what Fev did. If you're a bit of a draw card, you can actually cut a deal where you get a part of the gate take.
Gun for hire. You play a lot of different clubs.
100%, absolutely. And it's fantastic because, you know what? Without Fev starting to do that, again, this is me looking from afar, country people are then deprived of being able to watch and see blokes like that sort of finished prematurely in terms of AFL, but could still then go and do what he did for Yarrawonga. So
they did it really well. My first game we played Easter, and up at Yarrawonga they've got the tennis, so you can't play at the Yarrawonga footy ground. We played at Mawela, and there was 12,000 that jammed them in.
That's huge.
And it was unbelievable. It was huge. The gate would have been massive. I should have taken half the gate in my contract. But they were smart. They were selling memberships because a lot of people come up from the Carlton supporters come up from the city to watch. So they were doing like a $20 or $25 3-game membership. So people were just buying it.
Yeah, anyway.
They're only going to go there for one game, which they'd cost, $10? So they were making like $15. They were really smart. But then other people would come up. They go, oh, well, let's come up. So during the year, we played Albury over the Queen's birthday, and there was at 10,000 at Yarra. And then we had 16,000.
You've got to be the draw. It can't just be...
It's not...
Footy players now be stuffed.
Yeah, not everyone could do that.
Football.
Yeah, not everyone could do that. No, they couldn't. They couldn't. And plus, I bet you he just sat in the square, lobbed it in.
What
was the most you kicked in a game?
I was getting 15 Ks on my GPS.
Fair dinkum. Is that driving to the ground?
No, running to the bar and back. I was having tinnies at half time. The most I kicked up there in one game was 16. I kicked 100 a couple of times.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
But yeah, Ovens and Murray footy's pretty good footy.
Standard, yep.
Yeah, really good standard.
Well, let's turn it now. So you've come back. Now it's a bit of a rebirth. You're back with Alex, which is awesome.
Lucky girl.
The girls,
and should say, sorry to chop in, but
Isn't she?
it must have been a pretty interesting and amazing time for him. Sitting there, still wondering what's going on in his life, and the phone rings, and it's Alex. That's a really nice story in terms of support. She clearly tested him without him knowing, and then to get that call, that's pretty amazing.
I was pretty happy at the time.
I'm sure
before the phone call come through.
Imagine the smile on his face driving down the hill.
I was pretty happy.
So the next few years of your life now, you're playing local footy. It's all going well, and for most people on the outside, a media career wouldn't have been something they would have thought after the Brownlow stuff, and you've done stuff. You're obviously a character, but they would have gone, maybe Fev's
damaged goods,
goods, if you will. Yeah. Tell us about how it started to go. Like, I'm a Celebrity was a huge turning point.
Yeah, that was a turning point.
How did it come along? And B, did you think about it? Were you like, should I do it? Or was it just straight away, I'm going to do it?
Good question. I was sitting at home with Schnooksy, Al, who I call her Schnooks, and Channel 10 rang. And they said, we'd love you to go on this show. I'm a celebrity. Get me out of here. And anyway, they told me what you get paid. And I was like, that's pretty good. But I hate camping. Need a shower. Need TV, love food, need your phone. And
so I can relate to all that, actually.
Yeah, mate, 50 days in the jungle. And I thought, I don't know if I can do that. And I said, Al, what do you think? And she said, mate, you should go on it. Like, literally, you don't have a job, so the money will be good. And I need people, because everyone's like, thinks I'm an idiot for getting back with you. And I need you to... I need Australia to know why I love you. Yeah. Because the media can write stories, which 90% of them are probably true, but 10%'s false, but we believe what we read. Like, I work with a lady called Fifi Box, and I reckon she's constantly a front page saying she's pregnant, she's married, and I go, are you married? Yeah, she's like, but you believe it. Yeah. She's like, I'm sitting here, I'm not bloody pregnant and I'm not married. But you do believe it because people, that's why they sell lots of magazines. And she said, I need everyone to love you. I need everyone to realise why I'm with you, and they'll love you if they see the real you, because there's no hiding in the jungle. And I said, well, what happens if I get voted off early? She goes, well, you've got nothing to lose. Everyone will still think you're a dickhead. And this is literally the conversation we had.
That's fair.
And I'm like, oh, good point. And then anyway...
Because not everyone comes out of that show looking like...
Nah. Well, this was in October of 2015. So you go in the jungle. I left on the 21st of January, going on the 27th or something. So I went over, and I remember Warnie ringing me, and because I had the Shane Warne Foundation as my charity, so he knew that I was on. Anyway, he rang me on the 20th, which is my birthday. Warnie's ringing me for my birthday. He's a good fella. Hey, Warnie. And he goes, I'm coming. coming to my house now, I'm in bed. So I'm going to South Africa. And he goes, no, I'm in the jungle. I nearly fell off the bed. I'm like, yes, I've got a mate. I've got Warnie coming over. So he was over there. And then going into the jungle, you don't know what to expect. It was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Did Channel 10, the producers, they give you any warning? Did they say you're going to be bored, that you might be shown in a way that you don't like?
No.
Because editing, like with editing, you can do
It's
that.
reality.
Yeah,
That's
it's reality.
You now know how it all works.
I know
You
how it
wouldn't
all
know
works, and it's 24/7. You don't get fed on the side. I lost a lot of weight in there, but it was a great experience. An experience that changed my life. I think a lot of things have, but this was probably the catapult that put me into where I am now. But Alex was saying that a week and a half into the show, that radio stations were calling her, which I wouldn't have known. I didn't know because I'm obviously on the show, and asking if when I get back can I come in for an interview. And she said it was unbelievable the amount of people that were ringing in, and as she said, everyone loved me, which was my personality and the way I am. There's no bullshitting. And anyway, went on to win the show and got $100,000 for a charity, which was great. I donated half of that to Paul Harrigan on the night, which you're not allowed to do. But I did it before any producer said, because he was solely in there for his best mate, Mark Hughes, who has the Mark Hughes Foundation for the Beat. He's got brain cancer. And at the time he was 39 with 3 kids and goes in every 3 months to get a scan. And that's just horrific in itself. But the big chief, who's pretty successful man, went in there solely for his mate.
Yep.
And I thought that was amazing. And he's a vegetarian, hadn't eaten meat for 25 years, and he was eating chicken because there's nothing else to eat. And I donated 50 to him, and the big fella cried. He's a big man, and I was lucky enough later on that year to go to Newcastle at the Mark Hughes Foundation to present Hughesy with a $50,000 check, which was amazing. So to go on a show like that and be able to do that, and also gave $50,000 to young Will Murray, who jumped off the pier down at Half Moon, and he's now in a wheelchair. So to do that show and be able to give, mate, I sat on my ass for 50 days pretty much. Yeah. And then got out and had an interview with a couple of radio shows and went with Fox or SCA because I could do Triple M as well with footy. And then, the show's just gone.
But you wouldn't have known. I mean, you talked about Alex going.
No idea.
We want people to like you.
Yeah, I wasn't going on for anything else.
Think about what it's done for your life now is quite extraordinary.
It is amazing, and I think now I've been in this game. You speak to a lot of producers. People actually ring. I'm a celebrity. Get me out of here. Producers to go on. Their managers ring to go on the show. Yeah. Which is amazing. I don't think that's happened to them before. And Anthony Kalia also I met in the jungle, and I never met him before. And I wouldn't have got through without him on that show. We were just playing pranks on everyone. Oh my God, he's the funniest man. And to this day, we're still best mates. We catch up regularly.
Not a bloke outside the show you would have thought you'd ever.
Mate,
Kalia.
You'd never think that you'd hang out. But I think he said when he first met me that he was the most scared of me. And then after we spoke for, I think, 5 minutes, he said he's the bloke that I need in here. Like, we fell in love with each other. Hopefully, don't get jealous, Tim, but just as a friendship. Alex loves Tim and Anthony more than me, and Tim. Yeah, so we all catch up together all the time, and it's opened up an amazing doors, and
you must find it funny. There are people out there who know you as a media performer who might not even know you played footy. That's legit, like kids.
Well, when I got out of the jungle, no one even knew. Yeah, no one even knew footy. Like my younger kids at their school, like I'd go pick them up, and the little kids wouldn't give me anything. Play footy, big star. Nothing. When I got out of the jungle, every kid was coming up to me. Did you eat that spider? I can't believe you had those snakes going over you. And then there was like 90-year-olds coming up to me at airports, giving me cuddles. That showed the demographic just went bang.
I remember my mum saying, she loved you as a player and the whole larrikin side of things, but that insight you provided to people that wouldn't have otherwise got that opportunity was unprecedented, I think, because it just showed that you were normal, you were human, but you opened up about it and spoke about it, and it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was. And the funniest thing about the whole show is Alex goes, do not mention me when you're in the show, because it's, we just got back together. Just don't mention me. Just try as hard as you can mention the kids, but just don't carry on. First day I was laying on the bed and I'm back with Alex. I'm so in love with her. And it just came out. And I'm thinking, because I can't speak to her.
Still excited. So
So
from
she's
that,
sitting there going,
from that
No,
phone
but
call,
I'm thinking she's watching this, and then for 6.5 weeks or for 50 days, I'm thinking,
what's she going to say?
what's she going to say? What's she going to say? Because I spoke about it every single time I spoke, because I'm proud of her and I love her.
Yeah.
And anyway, when they come in, the families come over when you make the top 3, and she snuck into the jungle, and they come out and they surprise you. And I looked at her and she started crying, and she said how proud she was, and I started crying.
Yeah,
She's never said she's proud of me ever. And I was like, oh, thank God.
She forgotten about
But
it.
for 50 days, I was shitting myself. Because first day,
We know who rules the roost in this
Yeah,
household,
that's
Shura.
right.
Yeah, me. No, she does. But yeah, so we're having another baby, which is great,
Yeah,
another
it's
girl.
Well, the good thing is Fev will be able to do the 3:30 feeds because that's the time he gets up. So
Yeah.
he'll be able to do that and then head off to Fox.
It's great, and she's due the week we go on holidays for 6 weeks. So I'll be able to be with the
doting
baby,
dad.
the whole time. With the other kids, I was always at footy training.
Yeah.
So this kid might hate me by the time it's 2 because he'll be around me all the time.
But again,
but
this kid will only know you as a medium.
Of course,
Personally,
yeah.
not as a footy player.
Hopefully
Three girls now.
yeah, it'll be 4.
Do you know? Oh, you know?
It's another girl,
It's
yeah,
another
another girl.
He thought they were pranking him when they
He's going to aim
revealed
for
it.
5. Sure, he'll have another one, I reckon.
Nah.
He'll want that. He'll want that.
His
little
brother's got,
Fev,
your
I
brother's
reckon.
got 4, doesn't he? 4
My
girls.
brother Jace, who's a big fan, he's got 4 girls under 8. So there is a saying going around that the Fevolas have perfume balls. So my dad's shattered because the Fevola name's done. But
That's
this
right,
day
coming
and
through.
age, guys, my girls are very, what's the word? They're very strong-minded, and they said they're never changing their name. So if they get married, Mia's changing it. She's with Daniel, so it'll
Rioli,
be.
Mia
but
Rioli. That's a good name to have.
It'll be Mia Fevola Rioli or Rioli Fevola.
Yep.
We'll hyphen it.
Yep.
What a little superstar that thing's going to be.
Imagine. Draw
That's if
card.
they stay together.
Young
They look. They're in love.
They
From
are
what I
in
see,
love.
they look
Yeah,
like
they
they're
are
in
in
love.
But so, it all comes around, circle of life for you. Do you look back at those? I know you said it before, but in terms of the formative nature of your life, that the lowest of the low really helped you become the highest of the high. Because also
It
radio,
does.
radio is all about being raw, being open. You've been
Yeah.
able to tell a lot of stories, and people relate to you because you actually have been at the bottom
Yeah,
in terms
yeah.
of mental health and whatnot.
And that's the beauty of breakfast radio, I think. Yeah, you've got to be able to relate, and I think if you don't and you make stories up, people will tune out.
Yeah.
Like,
They
"Oh,
can see through
They can
shit."
see through
Of
that.
course.
And Wayne Britton, who was a coach that I didn't really like, we got along off the field, but at the footy ground, footy club, we didn't really like each other. But we got along, like I was going to his house for dinner. It's weird relationship. And I remember he said in a meeting one day, and it's probably the only thing that any coach has ever said to me that I've remembered. He said, you got to swim through the shit to get to clear water. And I reckon I swam through a bit of
Swallowed
shit.
a fair bit of
Yeah, I did. I nearly drowned in it. But now there's a lot of clear water. And it's so true, that saying, because I was up there and people go, oh, do you have regret? I have no regrets. Because I wouldn't be where I am now.
That was a question I actually had for you,
Yeah.
to be honest, was do you have any? So he's answered that. I mean,
No, I don't.
And you look at it, brands like Jenny Craig and the like, clearly served a purpose for them.
Jenny Craig works.
Fev was bigger
I'll get
than
you
me.
the code.
He was way bigger than me, and look, it's worked.
If you get the Fev code, you get like 15% off.
I need more than 15%.
But you're so right.
But brand like that's again another feather, I reckon,
Yeah.
because those brands can pick and choose
Yeah,
who they want to associate with, and I reckon you don't have to follow Fev's Instagram in terms of that whole family unity. He loves his kids. He takes them to sport. He's always making them feel good and upbeat and encouraging them out for brekkie. I love it. It's a great story.
Proud of Alex. She's
100%.
supported it. I mean, her business has gone.
Yeah,
next
she's going
level as
well. Runway
you know.
room. She's got her own makeup line. We were just talking about that earlier, and she started all that when we had nothing.
Yeah.
When I was up in Brisbane, and she literally did it off her own bat.
Yep.
And she's charming.
Yeah, it's good.
Which is great. And the kids, well, you live your life through your kids. We all know. You wouldn't know your life without them, I suppose.
And do you,
No, you wouldn't.
you don't. Right now you are in a position as well to be able to help people. Like you talked about your mental health battle.
Yeah.
Like there are people out there who need to hear that from someone like yourself. Like it's a fortunate position to be in. You're well paid to do the job you do, which you love, and you're very good at. And now you can help kids and others who are going through the same battle. You feel that?
Yeah, well, I get a lot of messages on Instagram of wives or girlfriends sending little sneaky messages, not in that way, like sliding my DMs.
Why'd you look at me when you said that?
But their husbands are gambling or they've lost money or drinking too much, and how do I help them? And it's hard to get back to all of them because it literally is so many.
Yeah.
But it's all about being open. I think as long as you can be open as a male to your partner, makes a hell of a lot easier, doesn't it?
I reckon you get a heap too. You get a heap people who write to you and ask you questions. And,
I do,
pretty
absolutely.
full on stuff. I've seen some.
What do they say? How do you get a spike with grey hair?
Yeah, like how can you go on Celebrity Get Me Out of Here? I said I'd go on. I'm a fat prick. Help me lose weight if there's a TV show. Like, no.
Well, I thought it was The Biggest Loser. I got it all wrong.
No, look, I do. About a whole range of different topics. You know, of course, this week it went off its nuts because of the bullying with Hannah, etc.
Yeah.
But you know, this whole mental health thing. Again, we touched on it a few weeks ago with the AFL and the system and coming into it, and then when you leave it and you're out of it, it's a lot to deal with because you're all human. And, you know, I sit here listening to Fev's story and, you know, it brings back bloody memories, to be honest. And I mean, clearly the biggest difference is the level that he actually achieved compared to me, but it doesn't mean you don't go into that journey with without the same ambition, you know? You're going to play 200 games, 300 games, whatever. But yeah, it is. It's and where you can help people. I was actually chuffed. You know, remember Alex McKinnon, the NRL guy who had that unfortunate accident.
Yeah.
And I sent it to Shura. He messaged me after Hannah's thing and said, "Now here's this guy who's got his challenges of his own." Messaging saying, "I just listened to the podcast with the whole thing about bullying and Hannah," and he said, "Brilliant. I love it. Fantastic. She's such a strong girl, etc." Like that. You know, that's a pretty powerful thing in
Bloody
itself.
oath it is. But your family, for what your family's revealed on this in particular, like that's really powerful.
Well, the thing is,
Are you waiting for him to come out and say you're set up?
Nah, the bastards. I wouldn't get in. John's security as well. So the thing is, you know, for me, sure, the thing that stands out is, and I'm sure Fev's seen all of this himself too, people look at your family and they see snippets of what happens and they go, oh, they've got a nice house, they're lucky, they all get on well. Yes, there's elements of that, but we're a normal family and we have the same shit as everyone else.
Yeah.
Whether it's individuals or a collective thing as a family, we argue, fight and swear and storm off and tell each other we hate each other. So there's that whole thing of normality that unfortunately people don't always get to see. So where you can share it, just to validate back to people that it's not all roses.
Well, also Hannah on the surface, heaps of Instagram followers, beautiful girl. She's at events, and people think, oh, her life's fabulous.
Yeah,
and she was honest and raw.
It's the same as Mia,
Yeah.
my daughter. She gets bullied and trolled on Instagram from haters because she's pretty, because she's my daughter, and she goes out with a footballer.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
So she gets hammered. It's like, well, people just chill out.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't get it.
But you know, again, I think the good to Fev's point where people message him asking those questions. The thing that no one can take away from his experience is the actual testimonial.
Yeah.
He's proven that you can go from here to here to here.
Yep.
And that should be reassuring for everyone. No two journeys will be exactly the same, of course, but at the end of the day, it's that whole light at the end of the tunnel.
Just
well, every day is not the same. It doesn't matter how good you live.
You're right.
There's challenges that come to everybody. It's just how you deal with them, I suppose.
And the reality is not everyone's going to end up on a breakfast radio show.
Of course
but in terms of where they can end up in their life, just to finish, because it's so great to have you here sharing your story, for the people who are struggling, and the guys out there in particular who are right in the middle of a gambling addiction right now, what would be the one message to them that you would send, to say it's going to be okay, or stop while you're already down? Or what would be the one thing that you felt at that time you look back and go, I should have read the signs?
I think the main message that I could say, and everyone's different, everyone will tick differently, and that's the beauty of I think an AFL coach is they coach 45 blokes, and you've got to coach them, and they're all got different personalities. That's why they're extraordinary people, coaches. When we're only trying to deal with 5 people in our family or 6 people, but if you have a problem with the punt, don't be afraid to tell someone, because people are scared, think that they're weak. Don't think you're weak. And I had a lot of mates that I thought were mates at this time, and I had a lot of people that I didn't think were mates that become really good mates. And the people that were my best mates just dropped off, didn't speak to me, which is amazing in itself. But the people that love you will help you.
Yeah, of course.
So don't be afraid, especially your close ones like your mum, your dad, your partner, your best mates. Tell them what's going on.
Yeah.
Be their shoulder, and if they don't want to know about it, then go to the next person or ring someone up, ring helpline, or ring someone, because there's a lot of people out there that will help, and don't think you're alone, because that's what a lot of people do. They think they're alone. But this day and age, you're not alone. There's a lot of people out there, a lot of people that want to help. Send me a message and I'll have a chat. And that's what we do. We help each other.
Oh, again, that's right. Admitting and accepting the fact there's an issue is...
Because I felt so much better when I like, was like, this is what's going on. It's like, whew.
Yeah.
I reckon I lost like 20 kilos.
Yeah.
Just come out.
I might do it in 2 minutes. Make me feel better.
Either way, mate, you can be very proud that you're now helping people. You're doing an awesome job, Fifi, with Fifi and Byron
Cook with an E on the end.
Byron Cook, and obviously all your staff with Jenny Crow. I'm sure there's a million other things you're also doing.
There's a few things.
Mate, good on you, and thanks for coming on and sharing your story. Because if it just changes one person's life, we talked about that. Like, that's massive. So, and there are a lot of people out there that love what you do. So we really appreciate you coming on. And
Thanks,
sharing your story.
boys. How's the golf going?
Oh, we're trying our best. We can't play with this bloke anymore.
I've seen blokes play with one arm.
40 save points last time he played, but he won't never mention it.
I've got my new club. I haven't used my new club yet.
This is AD and the MC, and of course, check us out at AD and the MC on Instagram as well. We've got some big guests coming in the next few weeks as well.
None bigger than the big dog.
None bigger than the big dog.
Thanks for coming, Ledge.
Thanks, mate.
No worries, boys.
We'll see you next week.
Like and subscribe.
Beautiful, mate.
Like and subscribe.